They say
monsters
don't
exist.
But what if I told you they walk among us in plain sight? Imagine the chill creeping down your spine when you're
Alone.
the unsettling sensation of eyes boring into you from the shadows. Yet, when you turn, nobody is there. Picture yourself in a crowded grocery store, heart racing, as an inexplicable dread clings to you like a dark, dark cloud. Monsters are real. This is American Whiskey, and every Friday we get together for Sip and Solve, where we dive into the bone-chilling tales that remind us of darkness lurks just beneath the surface. Welcome back to American Whiskey. Sip and Solve. It's Friday, so you already know. It's sipping and we're solving. We're having a good time tonight. And of course, we're picking some, weird-ass cases. Something that was intriguing. Something that we like to do. So welcome back, everyone, to another episode, man. We're so excited. The Sip and Solve is really dear to my heart because I'm a big true crime guy. I think I'm turning you guys. Now, I'm your host, Big Sturge. And joining me today, as always, is my fantastic co-host, Justice League.
How's it going, everyone? And Sturge, like I told you, you threw us a curveball today.
I did. And I'll explain what the curveball was here in just a hot second. That's a good point. Peanut, what's up, buddy?
What's up, everybody?
And we've got our, we like to call him our producer in training. He's doing a good job. We like the kid. He's doing a great job. We love him. We've got master of the sticks and keys, Levi.
What up?
He doesn't drink, though. He's just here to participate.
Super Sally.
Yes. So,
Little nut.
let me tell you about the curveball. I, for the last week and a half, told the boys, we're doing Jeffrey Dahmer.
You even sat up for hours and wrote a script.
Well, and when he says hours, I couldn't go to sleep. Was it last Saturday?
Yeah.
I was up for until 4 or 5 in the morning writing a script. And then there was a couple nights this week where I was up till in the AM before I went to bed, writing the script. But then I learned about the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case, and I was freaking obsessed with it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So I stayed up all night, have had hardly any sleep because I'm super excited about this case. So I wrote up a script. I think we're all there. Luckily, the boys knew the case already, and they fine-tuned it to their brain on the details. But before we do that, you see the front of here with the Burned Out Winery shirt, the Burned Out Winery bottles, and we've also got shirts with it on our on the sleeve, American Whiskey shirts. But guys, if you like good wine, not just good wine, the best wine, you can go to burnedoutwinery.com. Go to the 2nd Street Market either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday.
And buy it all.
Or buy it all. Just buy them out because it flies off the shelves. It's hard to keep in stock because right now they're growing. They're working on making things happen even more. So before we get started in today's case, I would like to play the commercial brought to you by Big Sturge and the American Whiskey Boys. If you're looking for a unique wine experience, check out Burned Out Winery. Founded by a team of siblings who turned their passion for winemaking into
into a thriving business. They focus on crafting exceptional small batch wines from Moscato to tart cherry and spiced apple to their delightful sangrias. There's something for everyone. Each bottle tells a story, complete with a creative name that reflects their journey. Their wines are not only fantastic, but they're also affordable, making them a great choice for any occasion. You can easily order online at burnedoutwinery.com or connect with them on Facebook. They deliver. Whether you're local or out of state, they'll ship right to your front door. Support this hardworking team and savor the taste of Burned Out Winery. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey.
You're up.
Hey, everyone.
We already did that part. We read that.
All right. So you got to learn how to flow with it. Instead,
I
you
was
know what I'm saying? You just got
confused.
to flow with it, bro.
Well, you got to point him out, man.
No, it's not. Hey, you didn't say, hey,
That's
everyone
what's
ready
right
to
here.
dive into the gripping case, man.
And I
It's
didn't
all,
say,
no, you boys just sit back. Let Sturge
Hey.
fucking take it. It's
well,
fine.
let's get into
Hey,
sipping and solving. What are we
excuse
all
me.
sipping on?
Excuse me. Hold on real fast, Philip. You guys don't want to take over.
Oh, my
you
goodness.
guys, no, you guys don't want to have to figure out where to go here. Let me do it. What are we all sipping on tonight?
We did forget that.
What are we, Dylan? What are we sipping on, boys?
Well, I am drinking a Sturge Old Fashioned made with Heaven Hill. What is that? 6 year, 4 year, 6?
Yep, 6 year.
6 year. I added some Monster Viking Berry and some Club. What is that?
Just
Soda water?
a bubble, carb-free Sprite, essentially.
And it's delicious.
Oh yeah, you know, I'm kind of on the same boats here. I got the Sturge Special Old Fashioned here, made with some Field of Dreams whiskey in it,
Mm-hmm.
and a little smoke on top of it. And Sturge, you want to let everybody know what all you got in this old fashioned?
Yeah, man. So we did the Second Street Market a few weeks ago. We met the guys over at the craft handmade syrup place. Was it Stillhouse Maple Syrup? I think is what it was called. But it's made with the Indian Creek whiskey barrels syrup is. And so that's what I'm using to sweeten it up is their great quality syrup there. It's amazing. I'm also sipping a carb free next. So guys, we're excited to get here. Let's get to some sipping and solving. You guys want to do that?
Yes,
I'm into it, man. This is a
Sip
good
and
episode.
solve.
I know I threw that curveball today, but I think we're prepared.
Oh, I think
we're prepared.
so. I think so.
So today we're going to be tackling the complex and the chilling story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. I mean, this case has so many layers to it, from a deep psychological abuse to shocking crime that just continued to unfold through the life of Gypsy. We're going to break it all down for you guys over the next couple minutes, hours. You never know with us. So grab your drinks, whether it's a beer, a whiskey, doesn't matter.
A wine.
A great wine from Burned Out Winery. It does not make a difference. Check your doors. Make sure they're locked. Check the windows too, because they like to slip through there too. And let's get started.
Oh, yeah. So we're going to cover Gypsy's early life, her very rocky relationship with her mother, the crime itself, the trial, and the aftermath. It's definitely a roller coaster, guys.
Yeah, that's right. It's a roller coaster, and you know, having the flip thrown back on us here, you know, we all had to kind of refresh a little bit on the case, but
Yeah.
most of it always sticks in our minds. But along the way, we'll sprinkle in some of our insights and personal reflections. So basically, everybody buckle up. It's going to be pretty intense.
And don't forget to buckle up because this story is ridiculously intense. So we're going to jump right in. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born in 1991 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Crazy place. It's important to understand that her early life was full of complexities, of her situation.
Exactly. Gypsy was raised by her mother. Dee Dee Blanchard, who claimed her daughter had a slew of medical issues from leukemia to muscular dystrophy. But what's shocking is that many of these claims were fabricated, and by many, I would say 99% of them.
Yeah. I mean, and it even gets darker, right?
Oh, 100%.
And when you look at this, Dee Dee would take Gypsy to numerous doctors, and often receiving treatments and medication that were unnecessary.
And not only was she changing Gypsy's life, she would influence these doctors to
Does
do
that-
what she believed.
Does this
wanted
kind
to
of
be
sound
done.
like Purdue Pharma?
A little bit, yes, yes.
It's all about the money, right, Phil?
And there's actually, there's actually a name for this. It's a classic case of, I'm probably going to mess it up, but it's Munchausen's
That's it. That's right, Phil.
Munchausen syndrome
Proud of
by
you.
proxy.
Yeah.
And it's
By proxy.
By proxy, I mean-
it's not really a condition, but it is created
Yep.
by the loved one.
and a lot of the information you look up on is going to have that specific name in it. Dee Dee, this Dee Dee controlled all of Gypsy's life, manipulating, medical professionals like we were just talking about, even, faking some symptoms and getting her daughter's head to, kind of believe that, she's really got this problem.
Yeah. What's up, as Muna TTV? No, you're exactly right. She did have issues, and you don't have to apologize. You're not skipping ahead or anything. We love the banter and the conversations. We're going to get into some of the issues that she had, but clearly she didn't have cancer. She didn't have some leukemia. But again, it gets dark, and as I said, those numerous doctors were even faked, right? They were giving her the medication, the surgeries. They literally operated on her neck for no reason, an exploratory surgery. And the whole time it was all fabricated. Even here's a good example. If you don't think that Dee Dee was an insane woman, there was at one point that her mom had passed away. Her dad, Dee Dee's dad, so Gypsy's grandma, she passes away, right? Grandpa ends up poisoning the stepmom with like weed killer. Okay. That's how crazy she was, guys. But some reports even suggest that, she subjected, Gypsy's, to her painful procedures. And that's heartbreaking.
And another heartbreaking part about it is Gypsy was actually led to believe she was sick.
Supposedly, yeah.
She was isolated from other children, which meant she had no frame of reference for what a normal life looked like. When you're told something time and time and time again growing up from your parents, you start to believe that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a key point. Gypsy had virtual prison. She was virtually a prisoner created by her mother.
Yeah.
She didn't attend school regularly. Most of the time she was homeschooled, which, just even added more to her isolation, by her mother being able to manipulate everything.
And, I couldn't agree more, but let's talk about some of these red flags. And I said something about Dee Dee's cousin, but some of the friends and families, they actually were expressing concerns along the way, but Dee Dee was so convincing. She even had a facade of being a caring mother who solely focused on her daughter's health.
And one of the biggest red flags that I want to talk about, Sturge, is the infamous story. I know we brought it up earlier about how hard it is
Right.
to do anything for Habitat for Humanity.
Yeah.
They were actually moved to Habitat for Humanity homes. Dee Dee used their situation to gain sympathy and support from the community, which deepened the manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, guys, it's bone chilling and horrifying Gypsy's life was carefully crafted by her mother to get sympathy. Whether it's an illness or
it
or
worked.
anything. And it worked. It was working. And people actually rallied around them, not even realizing the truth. They played it out her mom played it out so well. She had everybody around manipulated.
And she truly did. And here's the thing. I have 4 kids, guys. I have 4 kids. I got a 10-year-old, 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 5-year-old ish. All those are with ishes because I don't know if
they're around there.
They're around that. But I just think to myself, how bad do I want a handicap sticker? Do I want it bad enough to shave my fucking child's head and say they got cancer? Listen, we just got done, raising money for Larkin.
Yeah.
You can't take away, what he's going through so your pity party ass can get a handicap sticker in the front line at a roller coaster.
Exactly.
Because you're a piece of shit.
And that's really what was going on here. She was taking away from the children that actually need it and was basically fulfilling herself.
Yeah. And it's a true testament, to how manipulative and complex these situations can be. Now, let's fast forward a little bit to Gypsy's reaching her teenage years. Let's talk about those teenage years.
So when Gypsy was a teenager, she began to realize that her mother's claims were not entirely true. There were moments when she learned about the differences between her life and that of her peers.
Yeah, she had a friend right down the street from her, that was come over and hang with her, and this and that was a normal girl. Then of course, she discovered more of the internet
from that friend. I think the friend showed her.
Showed her, yes. And she began to realize her mother's claims weren't entirely true at that point. There were moments when she learned about the differences, between her life and that of her peers' life.
Yeah. And it's kind of sad, right? It's kind of sad to think about it. Gypsy's mom had manipulated her brain as a child to think that she was sick. She had all these issues. And again, Muna _ TTV, I see you were commenting there. She exaggerated. No, buddy, listen, not all the shit was exaggerated. Some of it was just fully made the fuck up. Yeah. End of the story. Like you said, she might have been a few chromosomes short, whatever. I've listened to the interviews of her. She seems pretty with it and there. Forrest, yeah, go ahead. You got this so wrong. That's fine. You can correct us here, but it's the situation that she was in, being manipulated, being sold out. A lot of people believe that Gypsy, knew, right? She went along with it. But yeah, so but this discovery led to her attempt to seek for that, the freedom that she wanted, right? The freedom that every teenager out there, every young adult wants. She started to rebel against her mother's control, and the relationship became increasingly, strained.
Exactly. When her mom also, would punish her in a sort of way that, she's like, Mom, this don't affect me.
Yeah.
And her mom, oh yes, it does.
Right.
So that's when she met Nicholas Gojon online. And yes, we did have to Google how to pronounce that.
We did. We had to hear Google tell us how to say it.
They connected over shared experiences, and he became a crucial figure in her life.
Their relationship was really complex. Nicholas had his own struggles, including mental illness issues. And together they devised a plan that would ultimately lead to tragedy.
Yeah. And let's, dive into the crime itself. I I don't ever want to say that we're standing with a murder, right? You know what I mean? But we're going to talk about it. And on June 14th, I think it was 2015, Gypsy and Nicholas murdered Dee Dee. It was a shocking turn of events, to say the least. And to be honest with you, you know, this was planned out. She went to prison because she did plan it. She wasn't the murderer technically, but she was the mastermind.
Right. It all started when Gypsy and Nicholas decided they couldn't take the abuse any longer. Nicholas had traveled from Wisconsin to Louisiana to be with Gypsy, and together they plotted to kill Dee Dee.
What's chilling is the way they executed their plan. Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee while Gypsy was, you know, she was there.
Yeah.
And afterwards, they just fled to a hotel in another state.
And, you know, the details of the murder are pretty chilling. They're disturbing. But Gypsy had manipulated she had been so brain fucked for so long by her mother that it's hard to fully grasp her mindset. You know, what do you think would have drove her to this point?
So in my mind, I would say desperation and desire for freedom.
Yeah.
Gypsy had spent her entire life under her mother's control, and she saw Nicholas as her way out.
I agree. It's, you know, it's mind-boggling. It's a tragic situation. The lines between victim and, you know, perpetrator, it's kind of blurry in that area, you know. Like you said, you know, her mind's been messed with so long. You know, is she a victim, or, you know, is she a bad person? It's blurry, not just to her, I'm sure, but to us as people hearing the story.
And it was her way, Peanut, to take her life back, the control that she felt that she deserved.
Exactly. I mean, you're talking about a girl who, you know, really never experienced love or you know, autonomy, and it's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And, you know,
it's
just attempt to her take back, you know, her control.
And honestly, if you think about it, it's like, it is a lot to unpack. This is a lot of, you know, things that are hard to talk about. And after the crime, they didn't just flee, guys. They celebrated. They celebrated the fact that Dee Dee was dead. They celebrated the fact that what they did in their minds was justified. They celebrated the fact that maybe Gypsy would have a life now. They celebrated the fact that she's no longer under the control of a freak of nature that, you know, ties their kid to the bed and puts a leash on them and ties it to them, so that way when they move, they can feel it, right?
Right.
You know, they're celebrating the fact that she is free. If you listen to the interviews of her, she said when she went to prison, she felt free.
That's
when she went to prison, she felt free. That should be disturbing to hear. They went to a movie and even shared a romantic evening together. I believe they had sex that night. You know, it was an experience, and it was just, imagine being a prisoner to your own self and to your mother, and killing her and taking off. It to me, again, I never want to say that murder is justified, but fuck, if this isn't a justified murder, in my opinion, so far, I don't know what would be, because, you know, damn, I don't know.
If there's ever an justifiable case, this one,
I would say,
maybe it.
And that's what makes it so unsettling. It raises many questions about their mental states. Were they in a clear mindset, or had they been so affected by the trauma that they couldn't fully comprehend their actions?
Yeah, I mean, let's look at this, you guys. It's a complex web of abuse, love, and survival. And it's heart-wrenching to think that Gypsy must have what she must have felt in the moments.
As the investigation unfolds, police actually quickly caught up with them. They actually found Gypsy and Nick in a hotel in Wisconsin. And then that's when the truth began to start to unravel, guys. I don't think that that part was planned necessarily. What are we going to say if we get caught? I really think that they thought they were just going to be, they were just going to take off forever, never be caught. So when they were caught and they were caught up to, I don't think that was in the, you got to think, where was she in life at that point? Was she, I don't think she felt like she was in her 20s at the time. She probably felt more like a child. So when she was probably pressed by the police, her brain wasn't there. You know what I mean? And she was completely brain fucked for how long?
Right. And what's fascinating is how Gypsy used her newfound freedom to try to escape the reality of what had happened to her. She was still in the state of shock, like it was all a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. And, and then you got the media coverage that followed was intense. I mean, I think all of us remember this case when it first came out.
Yeah.
Gypsy became a household name almost overnight, guys. It blew up. And the initial story.
You're right. I mean, honestly, Phil, you hit that right on the nail there. Nobody knew who she was prior to this.
No. And it was the initial story, a victim turning on her abuser.
And I think that's well said, but let's move on to the investigation and the trial. And once Gypsy and Nick were apprehended, the details of the case really shocked the nation.
Oh, did it? Gypsy was charged with first-degree murder, while Nicholas faced more serious charges. The trial brought to light the complexities of their relationship and the abuse Gypsy endured.
Yeah, exactly. And during the trial, Gypsy's defense team argued that she was a victim of abuse and manipulation. They aimed to show that she acted basically out of desperation.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm making fun of you there, so.
Yeah, exactly.
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 You know what I mean? No, but the
I know
media,
you hate it when I say exactly.
I do. I just want to throat punch you and manipulate you, but whatever. The media frenzy surrounding the trial was super overwhelming. And Gypsy was portrayed kind of as a villain, a bad guy, but also a victim. I'm kind of interested on your guys' own words and your guys' thoughts, and people in the comments here. I know we had to remove Forrest Fred. I wish we wouldn't have had to, because I'd love to hear what he had to say. He probably assumed that she was a nasty and deserves to go to, to die because she wasn't a victim. But I believe she was. But I'm kind of interested what you guys were, what's your thoughts on how she was, portrayed? It is a Dylan. You tired, bub? It was, it was a double-edged sword for sure. While many sympathized with her, like I said, there was a lot of people out there, like Forrest, whatever his name is, was an outrage over the murder itself, and the public had huge amount of mixed feelings about her actions.
The prosecutor, even the prosecutor, painted Gypsy as a willing participant, emphasizing on the planning that involved.
Yeah.
The classic case of how public perception can shape a trial's narrative, just like many other cases we have done.
Oh, for sure.
How they can manipulate that public is.
And if you like to listen to true crime, I urge you to go back and listen to the other ones, and you'll see this. I mean, Gypsy. She pleads, hey, Sheldon Cooper, I'm going to say it on air, fuck you. But Gypsy Gypsy pleaded guilty to a second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Nick received a life sentence. I believe it was out without the possibility of parole, but I could be wrong. But again, Gypsy did plan this murder. Gypsy was the mastermind behind this. The crime itself, and to see that she only got 10 years, makes you wonder, how does somebody plan a murder and only get 10 years? Well, you got to go back and listen to what we just said.
Well,
right.
Well, Sturge, I think it's a lot because of the balance of the justice system and of compassion and controlling the law.
I agree.
A law was broken, but they were showing that it was compassion that willed that. Gypsy was a victim, but she also committed the heinous crime.
And I think if you go back and you listen to some of those interviews, Dylan, you even hear her say she should not have done what she had done, reached out for help. But it was difficult because she was manipulated.
Yeah, it's a tough call. Gypsy, she needed help. But, law had to take action. The case sparked debates around mental health and victim rights. And even, she's free, did her time and this and that. And you can tell by some of the comments in that and, talk amongst people, it's still sparking debates.
Yeah, and I really wish Sheldon Cooper could have been there in the beginning of this because, I would love to, hear what because he's brilliant, right? Sheldon's the smartest guy on earth, and it's like, what does he think about this? But honestly, Gypsy, I think we can all agree that this is a tough situation, right? It's like,
Yes.
Did she deserve time in prison or not? But it's a complex issue. It's Gypsy's life in prison has also been a huge topic, right? It's been a topic between us. It's been a topic you go and read forums online. And she's used to, she used her time to advocate for awareness, right? And, about abuse and effects of this Munchausen syndrome by proxy. You guys know what that means, by proxy, right? Google it and read about it. It's literally a freaking syndrome. It's because a parent, a loved one, somebody manipulated it.
Right. And she became somewhat of an icon for those who have suffered similar fates. She's now sharing her story to help others find their voice.
Yeah, and sorry, I was trying to read the comments up. What was above? 70. Okay,
I think Sheldon might have deleted us.
Really?
He's gone.
No, I deleted it.
Why?
Oh, Sheldon's no, it's okay.
Let Sheldon do what he
let
wants.
Sheldon do his thing, man.
Put him
We
back.
like Sheldon. Put him back. Now let's discuss this aftermath part. We were just talking about it, right? Peanut and I were I don't say we were having a good conversation, I would say. Let's discuss this aftermath. Gypsy Rose's life post-trial has been pretty much a roller coaster. I would say,
yeah, it's pretty up and down.
and I'll go again. I mean, after her sentencing, Gypsy was incarcerated, but eventually she moved to a different prison. And I think that was for her safety. Dylan, you've worked in the prison system for a long time. You probably understand that more than we do.
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time for different reasons, whether it be medical, mental health, stuff like that.
And she's been very open about her experiences, which is commendable, I would say.
She became a symbol of resilience, using her platform to raise awareness about domestic abuse and mental health issues. It's incredibly powerful.
Let's talk about her relationship with Nick, and we're gonna have a little bit of conversation when we get done here, but I really want to focus on Nick. They were close during the trial, but what's become of that relationship since?
They've had some communication, but it's complicated. Nicholas has been serving his sentence, and Gypsy is focused on her own healing and advocacy.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Sheldon, have you had our liquor? Probably not.
No, he was responding to Chris when Chris asked him if he had any good plans this weekend.
Oh yeah, Chris, he's the master of everything. He's the master of it all.
Back here to Gypsy, it's worth noting Gypsy expressed regrets about the murder, recognizing the gravity of her actions.
Mm-hmm.
It also shows growth and understanding of the situation.
Yeah, and I think that's actually awesome. I I think, you know, the question is for me, what do you think we can learn from this Gypsy story? You know, it raises awareness about the importance and, you know, how important it is to recognize abuse and the complexities surrounding it, right?
Yeah, I think it highlights the need for better mental health resources and education about Munchausen syndrome by proxy. We need to be vigilant and compassionate.
And it's a reminder that sometimes, as I said, sometimes victims can be perpetrators out of desperation. It's a tragic cycle that needs addressing.
You know, as we reflect Gypsy's journey, it's essential to, you know, emphasize, you know, with her situation, understand the broader implications. But I would like to hit this Jason Davis question. It says, just a question, does all the trauma she went through justify murder? Well, I'll get a little personal on here. I've done it before. I know a lot of our listeners know a little bit about my backstory. I'm adopted, but prior to my adoption, my sister and my brother and I went through a lot. We were molested, you know, raped and abused, and I didn't kill anybody. But I was also adopted and saved from that torment.
You had a way out.
I did have a way out. And, you know, everyone's got a story. You know, everybody has a story. And I will never justify a murder necessarily. But what I will say, can we take a step back? Can we look at what happened, what she went through, and say she did 10 years? It wasn't justified, but she did her time. She made a bad decision. And what would have stopped? Who would have ever believed her? Everyone thought that she was, you know, honestly, I saw mentally handicapped. People thought that she was mentally not there. She was, you know, the outside world never saw Gypsy's trauma. They only saw the leukemia bound, wheelchair bound, cross-eyed girl that has all these surgeries. You know, nobody saw Gypsy.
No,
They saw the girl that her mom Dee Dee had crafted, but no one knew Gypsy. So to answer the question, was it a justified murder? Yeah, I believe that, you know, in a way that it was, in a way it wasn't. But regardless, she did her time.
exactly.
She did her time. So no, it wasn't justified. She was put in prison, but she did her time.
So my answer is kind of similar to Sturgis, but I'm going to say it was not justified. If she would have reacted without planning it, then I could see her getting off the hook without even serving time. But the fact that she involved somebody else and planned it, she deserved to go to prison. And I agree, she served her time.
I mean, crying out loud, her mom had a full walk-in pharmacy locked away in a hallway closet.
Right.
I mean, the girl had more drugs in there than anybody I've ever known.
You know, I believe when she first when she ran away that first time with Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong, she stole her mom's medication, pain meds, I think, and also stole $1,000. And then she was caught. Her mom caught her, brought her back. And I just want to paint this picture for you to see if this is justified. So she comes to the bus station that they're at or wherever they were and says, "You're coming back." She's like, "No, I'm 19 years old. I can do what I want to do." You know, okay, give me my money then back that you stole.
Right.
Okay. Well, where does she go now? The $1,000 taken back. The man she's running with doesn't even have a fucking car or a job. Yeah. So she had to go back home. And what was her punishment? She was chained to a bed. And at night, they put a dog collar and a leash around her and then tied it to Dee Dee. So that way, every time her daughter moved, she would know. She would get up and beat the fucking brakes off of her. Now, no, a lot of us have went through a lot of traumatic situation, didn't end up killing somebody, right? But if we did, what would it have been? I mean, when you do these fucking things, when you listen, my dad always used to tell me, you mess around, you end up finding out. You do things and you get the repercussions. Well, manipulating your daughter for 20 years and beating the shit out of her and faking all these things. Guess what the prize is at the end?
Exactly. I mean, crying out loud, she went for how long? Not even knowing her real age.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. So that was the other thing. And her mom, it was like 19. She said she was 19 and she like white outed her date of birth and Gypsy believed it, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay, Janice.
Hey, Janice, there's more than one person to watch, by the way.
What does that mean? She actually was. I didn't say tied up, right? I said chained up.
Yeah.
Chained up, and then they put a collar around her so that way her mom could feel her while she was asleep. But Janice Harper, you could start a podcast and maybe you could share the story. But I appreciate you tuning in. I just try my best to research what I read and I watch the documentaries but again, I think Jason Davis brought a good question to the table. Was it justified? Dylan, you say it's not justified, but it could be, right? I mean,
if she would have reacted,
what would have been justified though? Her mom was so manipulative. Even if she went to go scream for help, did you see what she looked like? A lot of people are assholes and are going to judge off the way you look. People really thought that she was, handicapped, man. Like she had a battery powered wheelchair for no reason.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. You guys have anything else you want to add?
I mean, and you got to look at, it was so heavily covered by so many different news sources. And, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we still don't know that hasn't came out.
I mean, has she lied about any of it? Possibly.
And, we all know about fake news. They're going to manipulate however they want for their real story. I mean, the way I see it, I feel she was justified. If not, she'd still be controlled, every aspect of life controlled by her mother, not even knowing how old she is.
You know what's interesting? I kind of did think of Peanut. If you look at her then and look at her now, you see the fact that like she's gained weight, she's taking care of herself.
Yes. I mean, there's a big difference.
She doesn't look like the same person. So it's like, did the manipulation actually brain fuck her to the fact that she thought she was what her mom told her she was?
I mean, I'm sure it did somewhat. And, I mean, of course she looked unhealthy and she had to be unhealthy because the parents, made her have to look a certain way in order to get everybody to believe it. And that can't be healthy for a normal human. I mean, she was like scrawny.
Yeah.
And now
she was so skinny they put a feed port in her stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was starved. Like her mom didn't feed her.
But she had to be at that weight to be a certain age in that.
Chris, I think the point's pretty. Chris Salmons asked, what point do you feel it might have pushed her over the edge? The fact that she's 20 something years old and her mom's telling her she's still a child and
she's like 80 pounds,
80 pounds, malnourished.
I mean, don't be on here, marking me now. I'm just saying that.
Well,
what her actual weight is, I didn't know.
Well, you better be careful. Janice probably knows.
Well,
Janice,
you can throw it up there, but I know she was definitely, there was definitely some malnourishment going on there.
And to like I said, to the point she had the feeding tube in her stomach. And then the other part of it is, what point? How about the fact that she's running around in a wheelchair and she's like, I just jumped on the trampoline with my uncle and I'm fucking fine.
Yeah.
And then you try to run away and your mom manipulates that and brings you back. And I don't know, Janice, what was it? Tied up, chained up. It doesn't matter. she was bound against her will, put a dog collar on and literally every time she moved would get beat. But whatever, however you want to put it, we're just a podcast. We're just looking for what we've read and looked at. A lot of people know everything, you know what I mean? So they could probably do a lot more on the script than I can, but I'm doing what the fuck I can, boys. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're going off of what we know.
Or read. We've
read, research.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan's still researching on the Menendez brothers as we speak.
Actually,
that case was like
so
20
can
episodes
I do
ago.
a quick update on that?
Well, are we done with the Gypsy?
I mean, I think we've pretty much hit.
Fred is calling. Hold on, Fred. Hey, Fred. What's going on, buddy? We're on our live. What's up, man? It's okay. No, we're talking about Gypsy Rose. Yeah, you stopping over? What's up, buddy?
Fred, you were just in our live.
All right, I gotta go though because I'm on the live. Okay, bye bye.
Good old Fred.
Good old Fred, man. He's like, am I on the live? No, you're not on the live. But yeah, so we can move on. We can do our go ahead and end our podcast. Before we do that, timeout. Before I forget, let's do our commercial for Farmhouse. Von Davis is right here.
Look at Von Davis.
Schoolhouse Farms. He's right down in the bottom here. We like to switch it up. Sometimes we do his in the beginning and the end, but we're going to stick around, have a good time, talk about some shit. But this was our true crime episode. Let's hit the Von Davis episode. Commercial, please.
Discover the taste of freshness at Schoolhouse Farms. Join Von Davis and Beth Cole, passionate bird watchers and friends from York County, Maine, as they transform their love for nature into a thriving business. Since 2016, they have been dedicated to growing and distributing premium sunflower kernels, oils, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom grain products like corn, flour, and grits. What do they offer? Birdseed suppliers, high-quality black oil sunflower seeds for local markets. Food retailers, a selection of sunflower oils, roasted kernels, gourmet popcorn, and heirloom cornmeal. Online shoppers enjoy gourmet popcorn and confection sunflower kernels from the comfort of your home. Floral markets, stunning sunflowers for Ohio-based florists. Distillers, specialty grains for brewing and distillation. Popcorn vendors, are you a kettle corn vendor? Talk to Vaughn or Beth about supplying your business with the lowest cost, high quality mushroom popcorn in the industry. Taste the difference. Customers can shop for delicious sunflower kernels, popcorn, flavored oils, and heirloom cornmeal and grits directly on their website or at selected retail stores and farmers markets across Ohio, Indiana, Maine, and New Hampshire. Their name pays tribute to the historic Freisinger School, built in 1862 on Davis Farms property. This one-room schoolhouse has a rich history, having served the community until 1939. Are you ready to connect? If there's an exciting opportunity to discuss, they would love to hear from you. Follow Schoolhouse Farms on Facebook today and become part of the community. This is Big Sturge with American Whiskey.
All right, guys. So that's Von Davis. If you like, you heard it all, guys. The corn, the seed, I mean, everything. And he's a great guy. We got him coming on Tuesday.
Yes.
So next Tuesday, he'll be coming on and we'll be hanging out with him for a few and talking about everything. Stop doing that with your leg. But Dylan has some exciting news.
All right. So the Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hotchman, who has been going through the Menendez case for habeas corpus that they petitioned.
Mm-hmm.
So Hotchman explained that the standard for a successful habeas petition has multiple requirements. You must show that it's new evidence. You must show that it's timely and the evidence could not be discovered at the time of the trial. You must show you didn't engage in a delay by the time you learned of the evidence and brought your motion, and the evidence must be credible, and the evidence must be admissible. So the two pieces of evidence that led them to petition for habeas was one, the letter that Eric Menendez wrote his cousin, Andy
Right.
Cano,
Yep, I remember the letter.
8 months before the murders. Andy actually testified about this letter, and they asked him for it, and he only found it 7 years after the trial. That's why it's been so long, and they had to get all the forensics from it, make sure it wasn't fabricated and all that stuff. The second piece is recently the former boy band member Menundo Roy Rosello.
That was so the Menendez's dad was the manager of that boy band.
He came out in 2023 that he was raped by Jose Menendez.
Right.
So the DA asked the courts to deny it because it wasn't credible evidence.
So, but I mean, is there anything? There's no good news. I mean,
There's nothing you can do after habeas is denied.
was it denied?
It's getting denied.
Wow.
He argued the letter to Cano is not credible evidence when that shows that his testimony was 100% legit.
Well, and here's the thing about that crime, that murder. The Menendez brothers, if you guys remember, used a shawled-off shotgun and blasted holes through their parents because the brothers had been raped, and I believe it was Eric Menendez that was still being raped at the time of the murder.
Yes.
Again, that's a Jason Davis question he asked earlier. Is that a justified murder? They should have probably got in trouble for the murder, right? But that was a pretty sick ass crime, and I think they've done their time.
But see, look, what I don't understand is Hochman came out and said today in a news conference, if this letter truly existed, the defense counsel would have absolutely used it at trial.
Yeah.
The cousin lost the letter.
So they're saying that it's not able to be used.
They should have had a magic wand to make him have the letter in his hand. Is what?
But who loses
he's
a
saying.
letter for 8 months?
He lost it for years.
I mean, okay, years. How do you just magically find it?
I mean, think about it. If you're written a letter you don't want to freaking have there, 8 months later, all this shit happens, you're gonna be like, I don't know if I kept that letter.
Muna, so we do like an after show thing. So this is American Whiskey. I'm glad you're tuning in tonight. We do Tuesdays at 7 and Fridays at 7. So Fridays are our true crime night. Tuesdays a shit show. We just have a good time. We're just talking about a past case of the Menendez brothers. No, I don't know if you know that case or not. Dylan just shared that. What's it called?
They filed for habeas corpus
And it was denied.
For new evidence that came to light so they could get their case overturned, and it was denied by the DA.
We've been following this case. I think they've served their time. Do you?
I think they have.
But if you listen to some of the banter back when they were in prison, some of it was a little questionable, but I don't know. It's crazy. If you were really raped and like they said they were, I think the parents deserve to die.
Well,
Is that fucked up the thing?
So this is even more bullshit the more you read. So habeas, it has to be new evidence.
Right.
They're denying Rosello's claims fail. They say it fails a admissibility standard for the habeas petition because the brothers didn't know about the allegations. They said other people were getting
right
abused by him.
Right. I mean, so
you can't force someone to come
well,
forward.
the Menendez's dad was a manager of the boy band. I believe it was a Mexican boy band. And there was an allegation that like you just said, one of the members came out and said that he was being raped by him.
Like, this goes to show that their story
lines
adds up here
Yep.
because they're saying it couldn't play a role in self-defense or premeditated murder. It 100% corroborates their story.
And you see but listen, you see the fact that the Menendez brothers didn't help themselves.
I agree.
That's why normally you should follow the chain of command. Like if something bad is happening to you, you don't just blow your fucking parents' head off. Go to somebody and tell them, right? If they would have told somebody, which I guess they did, their cousin, right? I mean, nothing ever happened. I don't know, man. It's crazy. That Menendez case, we'll revisit that case.
So do you think this is why that DA got voted out and this one voted in?
I don't know, man. That's a good question. I don't know.
Conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy for sure. It looks like Chris Salmon's going to hook up with Vaughn about this Pinot. I think I drank a whole bottle of that Tuesday, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I'll drink another bottle of it. But guys, don't forget, we love you. We're glad you tuned in with us. It's been almost an hour. Share the episode if you liked it. Muna, it was really cool to have you on YouTube. Hopefully you can give us a follow. We're also on Facebook and Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you want to tune in, we'll send you a shirt. If you send us a Facebook message, we'll send you a shirt, American Whiskey shirt. And a hat. Why not a hat, right? A hat too?
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. As always, I'm Big Sturge.
I'm Justice League.
I'm the peanut.
And we are
American
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Levi, do you want to say bye?
Yeah.
You want to bring your camera in and tell everybody bye-bye?
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Hey, Mona, thanks for subscribing and liking the live, brother. Or it might be a girl. I don't know. We it doesn't matter. We love the fact that you tuned in, Shay. So at that level of money and influence that Menendez's parents had.
We know, Shay.
We know, bro. Shay, we love you, bro. We're glad you did. Shay comments on YouTube.
And then switches to Facebook.
I know, and then switches. That's our guy. Okay, Mona. Hey, you go, girl. I'm sorry, my bad. I listen. That was my bad. Okay, but I'm glad you.
He's not a smart man.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. I'm glad you guys tuned in. So hopefully we see you on Tuesday, right? Hopefully we see you on Tuesday, guys.
Yeah.
Right? Phil, what the fuck are you looking at right now? We're in the middle of an episode.
We'll talk about it after.
I'm Googling.
He's shugling.
Yeah.
Are you shugling?
Something like that.
Shugling.
Sugarling.
We're all going to be co-workers soon. I'm super excited. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, Muna. I didn't mean to call you a man. It was my bad. We are American Whiskey. Love you guys.